Here is the recipe that I cook in this video. Feel free to screenshot, write it down, or copy from the description. If you have some old, leftover pasta sauce, it can go a long way in making the meal feel special to serve it over a bed of rustic homemade egg noodles. These are a bit of a pain to make, so if I'm cooking the sauces well, I usually don't go through the trouble. But if I already have the sauce, these do have a unique taste and texture that you just don't get with the store-bought stuff, so I end up making these surprisingly often. To start, if you're using frozen pasta sauce, the best way to thaw it is to take it out of the freezer a day or two beforehand and place it in the refrigerator. Here I have some chicken pasta sauce I made using the recipe from last week, link in the description. If you don't have a day or two, the next best way is to take a shallow vessel, about a ½ inch shorter than your freezing container, and place it and your pasta sauce in the sink. Fill the vessel with cold water and leave the faucet on a trickle for about an hour. Do not use hot water, as that will melt just the outside of the pasta sauce way before the inside melts, and that melted part could spoil. About 30 minutes before eating, get 2 large eggs and a cup of flour, and prepare to mix. I'm using all-purpose flour, but if you want it to be healthier, you could use whole wheat flour. Now, what I'm doing here is the traditional way, where you create a ring of dough, crack the eggs in the center, and scramble the eggs while mixing in the flour. But what I actually managed to do is make a complete mess of it. In all honesty, this can be done easier and far less messily in a large bowl. Regardless, the mixture will come together into a wet dough, and you will need to add some flour. The amount you add will depend on how large your eggs are. Just keep adding flour and kneading until it results in a slightly sticky, firm ball of dough, about 5 minutes. Now go and thoroughly wash your hands. We are working with raw eggs here after all, so there is always a danger of salmonella. Once sanitized, wrap the dough with plastic wrap and set that aside while you clean your cutting board or bowl. Again, salmonella is not something to mess with. Trust me. Like with any pasta, add a couple quarts of water to a stock pot. Salt the water until noticeably salty, and set the burner to medium. At this point, you can also heat up your pasta sauce. Just pour your sauce into a saucepan and heat it on medium. While those are heating, let's roll out our pasta. Heavily flour your work surface as well as your rolling pin. The dough should be pretty sticky, so make sure everything stays floured. As you roll it out, make sure to flip the dough every minute or so to ensure it doesn't stick. We are trying to get this to a large, thin rectangle, to about 3 feet by 1 foot. Once you have stretched the dough, divide the dough into 2 halves, placing one aside. Fold the dough up about 2/3 up, and fold the remaining third down. Do the same to the other rectangle, and place both on your cutting board. At this point, turn up the burner under your stock pot to high to get it boiling. What you do next depends on the type of noodles you want. If you cut them lengthwise, you will have the best lasagna noodles ever. You could cut them into smaller rectangles and make ravioli, or cut them into spaghetti with really thin 1/8-inch slices. I'm going for a traditional egg noodle thickness of about 1/2 inch. They're going to swell a lot, so I'm cutting them closer to 1/3 of an inch right now. Just gently rock the knife as you cut to cut smoothly and keep those layers from sticking together. Once you get them cut, I just toss them into a big messy pile to keep them from sticking together. Then, gently, in small bunches, lower them all into the boiling water. Stir to keep them from sticking together. At this point, as they cook, wash your hands and place the stirring spoon in the sink or dishwasher, and get a new one. Once you are done washing your hands, the pasta should be nearly done. It only needs between 2 and 4 minutes to completely cook. Just take a piece out and try it. Once it is done, you can strain it and serve. Just lay down a bed of the homemade pasta, spoon on the pasta sauce, and, if you want it, sprinkle on some Parmigiano Reggiano or whatever jarred version you have. And that is a very filling, very rewarding weeknight meal. Once you have homemade egg noodle pasta, you end up craving it surprisingly often, at least That is my experience. Thanks for watching. I truly appreciate the kind words and feedback everyone has given for the first video, and all the ideas that people have been giving for future videos. I hope this has been of some help for you. I would also like to thank Mulberry, who provided me the intro and outro for this video. You can check out his channel in the description if you like what you hear. Next week, I hope to share a recipe for the cheapest steak in the supermarket that somehow tastes better than all but the most premium cuts. Thank you.